True Indeed with you. Holy Circle Gaming. Thank you for rocking with your boy like always. Definitely a privilege and an honor to do as such. Y'all see what we getting into. Another top 5 setup for today. Submitted by my man, Mr. Timmeh93. Shout outs to him. He's representing on Twitch, twitch.tv.Timmeh93. That's my man, 100 grand. So give him a follow. Go check out some of the things that he's working with as far as his gameplay tip. And from him, we're going to get his personal top 5 games of all time. Y'all ready for it? Salute to Timmeh93. This is your man, Mr. True Indeed. Let's go ahead and get into it. First up, World of Warcraft. Now, World of Warcraft, very interesting choice because when you're talking about MMO games, this is kind of the granddaddy of them all when you really comes down to it. But you know what it encompassed was a little bit of everything. You know, when you talk about World of Warcraft, Blizzard did a great job of transitioning from the Warcraft series, which was an RTS, transitioning into a MMO. So what did they do? First off, great storyline. So, great storyline kind of compelled you to play the game. The other thing that it did really well was the multiplayer aspect and being able to handle a multitude of players at the same time to fight for a common goal. So, you know, the build-up was how many people can I get in to play this game at once. Each of them run independently, have their own specialized attacks and stuff, and actually take on various bosses along the way and learn aspects of the story. That was a great premise in which a lot of newer MMOs are built on now. This was the moneymaker for Blizzard for a long period of time, still is. A lot of people still to this day still play World of Warcraft to this day. My boy Timmeh93, when he said one of the games that he invested a lot of time into, it was World of Warcraft. He said that it was one of those games that it was fun, it was engrossing, it was one that got a lot of his boys in together and they all went into the paint to play this particular game. Now, for me personally, I didn't really go ham on World of Warcraft. And it's not because it was a bad game or anything, it's just I didn't want to really invest into a game of this type of magnitude because I know if I invested into this particular game, then I wouldn't be able to play other games that I wanted to get into, because the one thing about World of Warcraft, and it's kind of the gift and the curse, it is very time consuming. World of Warcraft is a very time consuming game. You have to invest a lot, have to work with your squad, so you definitely have to have a squad of people who are going to be down to be in the trenches with you as well to have the most success in this game. So don't get it wrong for a second. World of Warcraft is a fantastic choice when it comes to top 5 games because it is billed as definitely probably the best MMO of all time for sure. And in a lot of people's cases, at least from a financial and a money making standpoint, it's in probably the top 5 games there too. So it's definitely a great choice by Timmeh93 to pick World of Warcraft as one of his top 5 games of all time. Let's get to it. Just in case y'all can't see the title of that game, that's Twisted Metal. Now, number 2 in Timmeh93's top 5 games of all time was the franchise Twisted Metal. Now, you know, I understand people have an affinity with this game. You know, it was one of Sony's, you know, like go-to games for a good period of time, especially in the OGP PlayStation days. You know what though? It's hard for me to really talk about this game because I tried this game on multiple occasions, and to be honest with you, I just couldn't really get into it for whatever reason. You know, I get it. You know, Destruction Derby on high octane. You know, being able to have your car ramming into other people's cars, being able to use gunplay and rockets and just cars smashing up on cars. Certain people like that game, and I'm not saying it's a bad choice by any stretch. It's actually a good game in theory because when you try to combine gunplay with driving games, you're going to get the best when it comes to Twisted Metal. So it is a great blend of those two aspects. It's just I personally couldn't get into the game. And I tried this game on multitude of occasions. I tried the original Twisted Metal. I tried Twisted Metal Black, as you see here, amongst others. I just personally couldn't get into the game, but I understand why Timmeh93 does. It's because when you talk about level design and structure, Twisted Metal actually had the level design and the structure pretty well done. I mean, variations of gameplay as limited as you may think that Twisted Metal would be with just, okay, I'm just gonna play and smash up the other cards as I go. They gave you various aspects of different styles of gameplay that you could go with, which was very cool. But I think the most important thing that I would say about Twisted Metal was really just the characters and the design of those characters. One of the characters that everybody kind of goes into, and I don't remember the name off top, so y'all would have to remind me. Y'all can say it in the comments later. It's the one with the clown, and he had the ice cream truck, and he was whipping around, and he was kind of doing this thing. It was crazy seeing that character and that character design, because that was kind of like the flagship go-to character for a period of time for this particular game and for Sony. And it's one of those things that you see people try to mimic it on Halloween and stuff. It was pretty crazy. But the one thing I give Twisted Metal credit for was character design. I mean, what they did with the various styles of characters, especially from the limitation of what they had on the PlayStation originally, then progressing on, I have to give Twisted Metal a thumbs up in that regard as well. Was it my personal cup of tea? No. I mean, is it in my top 5? Nah, I can't really say that is either. But for Timmeh93, I understand why it's in his top 5, because everybody who mentioned the game or who talked about the game, the one thing that they said about Twisted Metal is that it was a very fun and a very exciting game. It wasn't for me, but I understand that it was for a lot of other people. So I understand it being in Timmeh93's top 5. So definitely a very, very interesting and good choice by Timmeh93. Let's go ahead and get into it. Now, Timmeh93's third pick, this game right here, Spyro the Dragon. Wow, another one of those. I'm gonna pick through my crate of games and I'm gonna just grab one out the hat, and this is what this man pulls up. Spyro the Dragon, not mad at him. Great when it comes to design of gameplay, platforming game, a lot of games, of this magnitude, because people don't really pick a lot of games like this here. This is a throwback game to games of old school, real bright, real colorful, platforming game. Get a chance to kind of go through different levels and stuff. Old school style, based upon the premise of Mario Brothers and Sonic the Hedgehog and games of that magnitude when it comes to platforming games. Spyro's in that conversation of top platforming games of all time, that's for sure. I could definitely see it being a point in Timmeh93's top 5 games of all time, because it's definitely a solid choice here. The one thing I do like about it is, like I said from the top, the level design again. Great level design. Being able to go through with Spyro, just Spyro the Dragon just as a character was one of those ones that a lot of people didn't mention, like, oh, this would be my favorite character of all time. But everybody who played Spyro could rock with Spyro. I could get that in a day, like why I understand that people were rocking with Spyro. Not a bad choice at all. Level design, check. Fun factor, definitely a good fun game to play. Now, just like I mentioned previously in Twisted Metal, I'm gonna mention the same thing with Spyro the Dragon. It was hard for me to get into because there was other platforming games that I played. Most notably, I was more of a Sonic the Hedgehog, Super Mario, Rayman, games of that magnitude as opposed to Spyro the Dragon. But it's not to say that it was bad by any stretch. When they came out with this game, I thought it was well put together. I thought that the character design was good. It just wasn't for me. I'll tell you what though, if you were talking about a game that I would say, hey, get your kids to play one of these games or get the younger generation to play a game, this would be one of the games that I will mention. I figured that a lot of kids, you know, who wanted to play some of the throwback games like we would play, I know a lot of the kids will actually love and appreciate Spyro the Dragon. Now, I know in gaming we're in a different day and age now where everything is based upon gunplay and realistic and all this stuff, but there is room for a lot of younger gamers especially to appreciate games like this. And believe it or not, I know that we need to kind of go back a little bit and get into this style of gameplay as well. So I definitely appreciate, you know, Timmeh93 putting Spyro the Dragon on the list because I think that it's a very good choice for a multitude of reasons. And according to what he said he really liked the game because as one of his younger games that he used to play back in the day when he was younger, this is one of the games that he got down on. And even to this day, if you gave him a PlayStation, he would actually fire it up and play it again. So I'm not mad at him in that regard as well. So definitely salute to you with Spyro the Dragon. But the one thing that I will say about it before we shift into his number 4, let me say this. Would you put Spyro the Dragon above Super Mario, Sonic the Hedgehog, Little Big Planet, Ratchet and Clank, Jak and Daxter, Rayman? There's a lot of them in that conversation that I would really say wouldn't even be the best of the platforming games. It's in the conversation though. And for it to even be in the conversation, that's saying a lot because there's a lot of great platforming games and this is just one of a multitude of platforming games that should be in this conversation. But that would be my question to Timmeh93 and the question to all of you. Would you put Spyro the Dragon above those games? So, but outside of that, I think it's a very, very good choice, him putting Spyro the Dragon in his personal top 5. Great choice, Timmeh93. There go that game again. Call of Duty. Y'all see it, man. And you know, Timmeh93's number 4 choice, Call of Duty as a franchise. I'm not even mad at him at that. You know, the top selling game of all time. Roger that. It's definitely worth every bit of the billing of being a top 5 game in anybody's category. You know, what it really tells me about Timmeh93, and I know him, as you know, that's my man, 100 grand, and I represent for him. And one of the things that he do like is his shooting games. So him putting the Call of Duty franchise isn't a big stretch, especially coming from him. But the one thing that I will tell you about Call of Duty as a franchise is that yes, it is that good. I'm not even going to front. Is there a couple of first-person shooters that could be better than it? Very possible, but it's hard to really say that when this has been the money-making franchise that everybody goes to. When it comes to multiplayer gameplay especially, everybody's playing Call of Duty. There's very few gamers in this console generation or the last generation or in the PC generation that has not had a chance to play Call of Duty. Call of Duty does everything basically right. You know, good when it comes to sound, got that. They're great when it comes to sound, music, top notch. You know, gunplay, even in the different variations, whether you're going from the Modern Warfare to the Black Ops, even the old school ones and the World at War. And we discussed this earlier, you know, old school Call of Duty versus new school Call of Duty. You know, we discussed this earlier in Raccoon HD because he also picked Call of Duty World at War. So Timmeh93 picking Call of Duty 2, what does that solidify is? A lot of people's on board with Call of Duty. So I'm not mad at that at all because, again, music great, sound great. You know, multiplayer aspect off the charts. Single player campaign in which they kind of built the franchise off of initially, that's on point too. It's not horrible on the single player campaign. It's actually very well written, very well voice acted, very well put together. I just think that people get too caught up in the multiplayer as opposed to the single player, but they do a fantastic job in the single player campaign as well. Now, I know, I call it Call of Duty, and I know my people's like, man, why do you call Call of Duty, Call of Duty. I just think that we're just oversaturated personally with the Call of Duty franchise. One coming out year after year after year after year. I just think that we as gamers, or me, at least for me personally, I think that's just an oversaturation of Call of Duty, and I think there's plenty of other shooting games to play outside of Call of Duty. I'm not saying that Call of Duty is bad. I just wish that Call of Duty would take a break for a year or 2 years, just so we could kind of miss it a little bit, then come back into it. And the reason why I say that, because this is my only real knock on this game, and on the real, and I know people's like, wow, why do you bashing one of the top selling games of all time? I'm not bashing it. I'm just saying that the more you try to put out something on a consistent basis year after year after year from a gameplay standpoint, you're going to have a drop off. And that's what you've been seeing since Modern Warfare 2. Since Modern Warfare 2 and since Black Ops, the OG Black Ops, you've been seeing a steadily decline. Now, some of the things have been working better, like the voice acting's been getting better, the sound's been getting better, but the gameplay hasn't been getting better until this last version of Black Ops 3. I haven't had a chance to dip too crazy into it, but that's solid. Outside of that, you know, I don't know. I just think that you got to give it time for us to kind of miss the game a little bit, and then maybe go back in, revisit a few things, and then splash us with something heavy. That's what every other major title does, and it's funny that Call of Duty doesn't do it. I mean, I'll give them credit because Call of Duty is always consistent. You could bank on Call of Duty coming out in November every year. I just wish that they would skip a year or maybe skip 2 years and just give us something fresh and out of the box and something new, and go from there. But that's just me personally. Outside of that, Call of Duty, Timmeh93. Number 5. This game goes without saying, and I'm going to keep it a buck. This probably should have been in my top 5 too, but it's not. But it almost should be. This is Diablo 3, ladies and gentlemen. Diablo 3 in Timmy's top 5. Man. When it comes to gameplay at its finest, you can't say that Diablo as a franchise, and especially what they did with Diablo 3, shouldn't be there. Diablo 3 definitely should be in a lot of people's top 5. If you haven't had a chance to play it, here's how the game goes. Third person, top down. You go in there, you pick 5 different, mix of 5 different characters, which all has 5 different abilities. One's based upon spells, one's sword and shield, one is more based upon bow and arrows, one's based upon manipulation. Get these characters in tow, and you go in there and you battle against every single demon that you possibly can in order to beat this game. Now, whether you play it on Xbox One, P4, PC, it doesn't matter. You're going to get a great experience out of it all. Now, I understand on the PC side of things, you get seasons, which actually accelerates things. It's a slight bit more than what they're doing on the P4 and Xbox One side of things, but the trade-off is not that much. Now, notwithstanding a little bit of a hiccup when Diablo 3 first came out, this is one of the funnest games I played in this console generation. I'll tell you what, I invested enough time into it. Me, my boy Sujinko, and a couple of others. Shout out to my boy Sujinko representing Holy Circle Gaming. Shout out to him. We banged through this game extensively. We played it on the PlayStation 4 in particular, got every single trophy breakdown, and got in well. Now, the format in which they do Diablo is the format in which a lot of people are taking pieces of this style of gameplay and trying to incorporate in other franchises. Most notably, a lot of the things that you saw in Diablo, you see it in Destiny. You see it in other things. The randomness of the weapons that you could get, or the armor that you could get to make each character unique. I like that aspect a lot. It was one of the things that built Diablo as a franchise of, you know, there is a rarity in which you could get certain items, and that rarity is so small that if you just so happen to run across one and you actually know it's that rare, guess what? You're sitting on something that is of a gold mine. Believe that. Diablo, fun game, you know, definitely was fun as a single player game, phenomenal as a multiplayer game. The story probably was the only minor thing that they skimped on, but even the story was good. And because Blizzard always add content into it constantly, they're always dropping new tidbits or new levels or new items to go into and new sections to unlock. It always make it a fresh experience. You could play this game when it first came out, walk away from it, play it again, walk away from it, play it again. Even though I have every single trophy that you can, and I wasn't really trying to trophy hunt by any stretch of the imagination, I was definitely one of those games that I would definitely go back into over and over again. You know, RPG, hack and slash element. There are so many other games that are based upon this game. Most notably, Path of Exile is one of those other ones that's most notable, that's basically a clone. But I understand when Timmeh93 put this game into the top 5, his personal of all time, because believe it or not, it is well deserved of being in a lot of people's top 5. And I know I'm going to probably talk about this more and more as we go along, but I really had a great time with Diablo, and I think that a lot of people, if you haven't had a chance to play it, you should. Now, I will precursor that to say this, you know, I understand if you haven't played it. I understand if it's not your cup of tea. I understand that. Now, I'm going to go ahead and side note this. So, I will side note this part just to make it real fast. I know people as a Christian, as a gamer, and I know people, I'm going to take it this way just on the religious tips for a quick moment, so y'all got to apologize for me on this one, but let me do this really fast. From a Christian as a gamer, I know people always have the knock of, well, why do you play a game that you're against the devil and the devil's all in this game and stuff, and his name, Diablo, which stands for the devil. Guess what? If you took the game in its premise, what is it about? It's about you fighting against the devil. So from a spiritual standpoint, this would be one of those games that you actually really should play. Never mind the bloods and guts and whatnot. If you just take that premise, I am a person who hates the devil so much that I'm going to go in there into every reaches that he can, even where he stands, no matter where it is, and fight against him. Now, I understand the undertone on that aspect, but that is the basic premise of the game. So if any Christian has a problem with that game, I don't know what to tell you. Tell me you have a problem with the blood and guts. Okay, I understand that. Tell me you have a problem with the language in there, even though it's not much as far as language is concerned. I understand that. But you can't get mad at me about the premise. And it's funny because I'll tell y'all a quick story in regards to this. When I was in one of my old school churches, after I left my church, Maranatha, I used to go to a church called Sweet's First Assembly. And me and my youth pastor at the time, Tyler Daniels, we would actually sit in and actually play this game. And you know, and it was funny because we would play and then we would get scared, be like, oh, we really should be playing in church. But thinking about it now versus then I understood, it's like, okay, it's blood and guts, it's the devil, we probably shouldn't be playing in and getting all scared. But in the same motion, if we really broke it down then, I wouldn't have had no fear in playing it. You want to know why? Because if you can explain the premise of it, it's like, look, you're a person who's supposed to fight against the devil from a religious standpoint. That's part of what Christianity is based upon. Fight against the things of the wicked. Throwing out the wicked. Shout out to my man T-Bone who actually said that in the song. So that's just one of those things that I want to get into really, really fast. That, you know, yeah, I understand it from a Christian gamer's point of view. I understand where y'all coming from, but y'all are wrong on this one in particular. Y'all should definitely check this game out. Definitely give this game some play. And I definitely appreciate Timmeh93 dropping this game in his top 5 because I think it is definitely worthy of being in just about every person's top 5, including mine, even though it's not, like I said, definitely should be in the top 10, no question. So, with that one, we're going to transition to the... Well, as you see, I'm popping up on the board. This is my man Timmeh93's personal top 5 games. World of Warcraft. Yes, sir. Twisted Metal. Okay, I see you on that. Timmeh93, not a bad choice. Diablo 3 goes without saying. Fantastic game, as y'all well know. Spyro the Dragon, very underrated platforming game. Old school, not mad at that choice. Timmeh93, very good job. And what people consider the granddaddy of them all, Call of Duty, the franchise. I personally chose Modern Warfare, but Call of Duty as a franchise, that's my man Timmeh93 chose. Definitely a great top 5. So y'all tell me what y'all think. Do y'all like them? Do y'all hate them? Y'all think it's a good choice? I think it's a phenomenal choice. I think they're interesting choices in their own right. And when Timmeh93 actually pulled through and pulled these 5 games, it's hard to argue no. I mean, maybe 1 or 2, but it's hard to argue no on a lot of them. But y'all let me know what y'all think. Timmeh93, great choice in your top 5 games of all time. And as always, y'all know how we get down. We're gonna do it again. Another top 5, another top 5 breakdown by your man, Mr. True Indeed. And you know how I do. I represent Holy Circle Gaming. It's God above everything. Till the next time.